So the use of Bitcoin is revving up in some countries. 50% of Nigerians using Bitcoin, and El Salvador buying more Bitcoin. And now there's another place, Madeira Island, which is part of Portugal, but it's an autonomous island. Very important. There are autonomous zones in some of these countries. Even Ecuador has them, which is significant. And even Mexico has them. A lot of these places have autonomous zones, and they tend to be able to make their own rules, which is amazing. And some of these places are instituting Bitcoin, and that's a huge whopper. Because Bitcoin is not fiat. It's not infinite like fiat. It's finite. The complete opposite. There's the Mexican flag right there. What is this, Lovebird Lane or something? Remember when you were 16, you'd walk down the street? Actually, that's not something we did in America. We get in the car there. But in Italy, you'd walk down the street and there was Lovebird Lane. But you didn't see that much in America. Anyway, different conversation. Hola, hola. I saw an article just the other day that was talking about, don't worry, don't worry. It's like the media is either telling you, don't worry, slow your horses, drink some chamomile tea, or it's telling you, hurry up, the world's ending. Run, hurry up, you're in danger. So, you know, where's that middle ground that we see once in a while? People calling for in reporting. So the article was saying, don't worry, because the central bank digital currency, it's just a bank-to-bank thing right now. Oh, it's just a conspiracy theory, you know, that's not coming. It's going to be years, Meanwhile, though, just as an example, not picking on any country, Nigeria has already come out with their digital currency almost 2 years ago, and only 0.5% of Nigerians use the CBDC after almost 2 years. And get this, really important, 50% of Nigerians are using Bitcoin or similar crypto. So it's not like they're against using, you know, digital coins. They just don't like the government one. Oh, I think that's hilarious because, you know, in America, they're telling us, oh, don't worry, it's not coming. Don't do anything drastic. Don't protect yourself in any way. Should I go any further? What do you guys think about this? I don't know. Am I just, what's the word for this? Cynical. Am I just being cynical here? What do you think? Is this just me getting older and more cynical? Or are you also getting older? No, that can't be. You're not getting older and more cynical. It's me. Or maybe it's not us. Maybe there's something to this. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments what you think about this. And so you've got the carrot and the stick that's going on, where we're told that, yeah, the war on cash, because cashless society is supposedly to make things more convenient, more easy. And so the government strategy is somewhat backfiring, because Nigerians have had they've had a shortage of cash, and so they've taken to Bitcoin. By the way, I met some Nigerians when we were in southern Italy. Very nice people, young people, spoke perfect English. I like that. I like speaking English with the Nigerians in southern Italy. And one would think, based on what we're hearing, is that it's not going to be easy to get the Nigerians to embrace this government centralized currency, because they have even erupted into violent protests over it. So they won't take it. They won't take it.
Now, you were saying about the tennis player?
Apparently the world famous tennis player was not willing to get punctured, you know, like puncture a balloon and it deflates. Or you use an injection or something and it pokes something, it deflates. Well, he was unwilling to get deflated in order to come to the U.S., to Florida specifically, to play a championship game. And so DeSantis suggested that he take a boat from the Bahamas It's just, I don't know about you, but I'm just busting out laughing. What do you think? Does that make you laugh? Is it funny to you? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I couldn't stop laughing. Way to go, DeSantis. But apparently the tennis player had attempted to go by the rules and put in for a waiver, a deflation waiver. But it got rejected. That's what happens when you ask permission to do something that you have every right to do anyway. And you ask permission and then you just get rejected. But along comes DeSantis and fixes everything. And the next Whopper is about this, which is similar to the other Whoppers I was talking about, that who is running a company and how it's being run does matter. And it's like one of the largest used car companies in the USA is closing their doors. A lot of these businesses are closing their doors, and wouldn't you know it, I didn't even know that there was a subprime for autos. I guess if you can make bad loans for real estate, you can make bad loans for anything. So now we've got subprime loans in the auto industry, which just means a company that their whole business model was to sell cars by lending to people that normally wouldn't qualify for a loan. And their whole business model was based on that. And well, surprise, surprise, they're shutting their doors, and they're one of the largest businesses in America. And they become large because you've got this whole untapped market. And I wonder how much of this money has been squirreled away by some of the insiders and then this kind of mismanagement thing. And there's so much fraud and corruption everywhere nowadays, and then they just close their doors. Just like Alitalia, when they were selling people tickets and then not letting them board. We were one of those, and then didn't give you your money back, and then they filed for bankruptcy, that kind of thing, you know. And so, but in America, this contributes to the unemployment and the economy because they're really, really huge businesses. Just like when the subprime real estate lending bubble burst back in 2008, this kind of a thing has the potential of triggering a much deeper and stronger recession than is originally expected or understood. So these are the kinds of things that set them off. So first it's like people spending like a drunken sailor, and then the next day, then there's the hangover. So, hey, what's new? Hopefully you weren't employed by one of these companies or any of these companies, because if you were, guess what? You are now unemployed. And so, yeah, who runs a business and how it's run matters. And so it does matter what company you work for. Who you work for does matter. In this day and age, you really got to do your research on the company that is hiring you, even if it seems like the pay is really, really good. So the use of Bitcoin is revving up in some countries. 50% of Nigerians using Bitcoin, and El Salvador buying more Bitcoin. And now there's another place, Madeira Island, which is part of Portugal, but it's an autonomous island. Very important. There are autonomous zones in some of these countries. Even Ecuador has them, which is significant. And even Mexico has them. A lot of these places have autonomous zones, and they tend to be able to make their own rules, which is amazing. And some of these places are instituting Bitcoin, and that's a huge whopper, because Bitcoin is not fiat. It's not infinite like fiat. It's finite, the complete opposite. When something's finite, it's rare, and when it's rare, the price it becomes more valuable. When something is infinite supply, name something that is infinite supply. Air. Well, what is air worth? Nothing. You can blow air in a balloon, it isn't worth 2 cents. It's so nice to see people and be able to see their faces and them being so normal. It just wasn't quite like that last year and a half. This isn't actually a whopper or anything, but it's just something that stands out to me like a potential whopper. I noticed that the Mexican culture because I've been in Ecuadorian culture for many years and North American culture for many years, and now Mexican culture. And the Mexican culture is amazing. It stands out to me so much because of the way the Mexicans greet each other. And I'm talking about strangers. And you know that in places like Italy, people sort of kiss each other on the cheek, and and you see guys or even gals, sisters and brothers and stuff, arm in arm, and there's nothing funny about it. It's just affection, normal, regular family affection. But the Mexicans, even between strangers, have this natural, they have this, and I hesitate to use the word natural affection. It's like just normal, natural affection for another human being as being like part of your own family, even though it's a stranger. The way they greet each other with warm, affectionate greetings, which stands out much more so than the Ecuadorians. Are a lot more reserved. They're more, especially the mountain folks, they're a lot more reserved, what have you. And the Italians, they kiss on the cheek, but the Mexicans, this is beyond anything I've seen. They're just they're so warm towards each other. It's an amazing thing that I can't stop thinking about. And it's what's missing in American society is just the love of humanity and people just being warm and affectionate towards one another. Look at the beautiful flowers out here. These aren't normally here, like I say, but it's been raining for 3 months, and it's just, everything is just green and beautiful everywhere. Just an amazing spring scene that we're seeing. And so I've always had a reading mind, right? And I didn't grow up that way, but it was imprinted upon me when I was young that I should become a reader. And so I wasn't somebody that felt like I was uncultured. It reminds me of when I read one of the essays of Leo Tolstoy. And Leo Tolstoy, back in the previous century, went abroad, left his country of Russia just before it became communist, or right in the middle of it becoming communist, and then he went back home and decided that the way people were treating each other and the way they were living in Russia was wrong. And this was because he went abroad and saw how different cultures were. Having been into different cultures, and you see the difference in these cultures, reading does expand your mind if you're not able to travel, is what I'm trying to say here. End of story.